Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Football Fignuts podcast. If you're keeping track at home, this is the season's finale of Season 5, number 45 of Season 5, and number 239 overall. My name is Britt,
I'm Craig.
and we are here to close out our 5th season. Craig, where did the time go?
I don't know. Ever since COVID, I have lost all sense of time. Not me just having COVID, I mean, since COVID has been around. It
Yeah.
just seems like, last week we were at the last giant Bro Year's Eve before COVID became a giant thing. So,
Oh my
yeah.
God, that was December 31st, 2019. It's been
Yeah.
almost 3 years since we've done the big Bro Year's Eve party. I'm hopeful we'll be able to do it this year, but who knows?
Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. So, but this is the season ender, and we have a fun little topic to review and close out our year with. But first, let's start where we always start. What are you drinking?
So tonight, actually, I had a beer with dinner that you gave me first. I
what'd you
had
have?
that, one of the ones you brought back from Lake George, the
Which one?
coffee cup stout.
Okay, so that was by Common Roots.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a 2-second story behind this, and I want to hear what you say about it. When I was getting ready to leave Common Roots Brewing in, I believe it's Glens Falls, New York, I said to the lady there, I said, I need to take beer back. And I said to her, here's what I want, but I also need a recommendation because I'm not a stout guy, but 2 of my contributors are. And I told them about the podcast, and they were very excited that we would be bringing the beer back and potentially talking about it on the podcast. And I said, they're both stout guys, and they both like coffee. And she immediately went, you want coffee cup? And I went, you got like 3 coffee stouts on the menu. She goes, yep, but you want coffee cup if they've never had anything from us. So that's how you ended up with that in front of you. I've actually not had that beer, so I'm curious to hear what you thought of it.
I thought it was very good. It was very smooth, and it had a distinct, like, black coffee kind of aftertaste with some vanilla. But it was, if you like stouts and coffee, it was an excellent beer. So thank you for bringing me that.
Okay. Is it better than some of the stuff we can get locally? Like, I mean, we've come to just kind of use Two Roads as like our measuring bar. Like, how does it measure up to Espressway?
It
Is
kind
it
of
too different to compare?
No, it seems a little bit because it's 9%.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Wow.
it's a little bit because Espressway is only nitro now. So it reminded me of older Espressway, but a little thicker, if that makes sense.
Closer to a Guinness consistency
Yes, actually, I would say
than
so.
Espressway is. Espressway is not a thick stout.
No, especially
So-
now that it's all nitroed out. No.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm very glad you enjoyed it. So, are you drinking now?
Yeah, so now, so first of all, shout out that we got our first fan mail and beer delivery.
Our live. We've gotten email before from many of you.
Right, this
but
is live mail.
We have never had someone who we know in real life drive to one of our houses and drop off beer and a thank you note, and that happened this week. So, Craig, tell them about that.
So this is from a fan of ours and my neighbor and Britt's former co-worker, Tim.
Yep.
So the note says, to Fiona and the Fignuts. So if you listen to this podcast, you already should know who Fiona is. It says, here's the season 6, signed Carl. And Carl is their cat who's not allowed to go outside, but he tries to sneak out outside. And he left us, let me see here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 beers.
Wow.
So I have to give you some of these. So
I'll take a few.
they are 2 roads. So we got some Two Juicy, we got some Hefeweizen, and we got the old. My brain just stopped because I was drinking.
Road to Ruin?
Road to Ruin. Thank you. Wow.
I thought I saw that in the picture. That's the only reason I bring it up. My eyes go straight to the Road to Ruin.
So tonight, I am drinking the one of the Two Juicies. So thank you, Tim, very much.
Yes, thank you, Tim, and thank you for continuing to listen. Really appreciate it. So the funny part of this story with Tim and Carl is when we were able to do this live, and I lived closer to Craig. I would drive over there, and frequently, because of Tim and his wife's schedule, Carl would be waiting in the window. Like, they came home usually like right around the time we were going to record. So I would frequently stop and talk to Carl. And I'm pretty sure on more than one occasion, one of them was home early and we're standing in the background snickering as my ass was standing on their sidewalk talking to Carl through a window.
It's possible.
So I've had conversations with Carl on more than one occasion, and I remember running into Tim on the sidewalk one day, coming to see you, and we just started chatting as old coworkers would do, and he was like, I see you coming and going a lot, and I told him about the podcast, and he's been listening ever since. Like
so thank
every
you.
time I've seen him since then, he has just been like, "Thank you guys for continuing to do this. It's a lot." I'm like, "Thank you for listening." And it was very kind of him to do that. And obviously he's listening recently because he knows that we're getting ready to kick off season 6 next week. So,
yeah,
thank you to Tim. Thank you to Carl. And, it was very nice of you guys to drop by. So, what I'm drinking tonight, I have diet soda. And the reason why is because last Wednesday we held a production meeting. The podcast wished to gratefully acknowledge the support of our dear friend Drew. You've met Drew on more than one occasion, who works there and has some pull, and was able to hook us up with some discounted access to some alcohol. And that Wednesday night kicked off like 4 straight days of like holiday weekend drinking. So I'm on detox, but I just found out from my wife she wants to go have dinner at Dockside tomorrow. Before we go to her, she's having an art exhibit open, and I'm like, okay, so that's going to end tomorrow because I'm going to Dockside. I'm going to have a beer. So tonight I'm on the Diet Cola train. So thank you to Tim for the support. Thank you to Drew for the support as well. Everybody who went to the baseball game last week had a fantastic time, and I would highly encourage Craig to come with us next time. I know it's tough during the week, but definitely next time we got to get you up there. So, all right. Burning hot takes. You giving or you receiving?
You know what? I'll give.
What do you got tonight?
So a lot of people, and we'll go more into depth of this when we do our rankings. But a lot of people are in different teams right now.
Oh yeah,
like there's a big shakeup this year. So one person in particular, why does I swear to God, I feel like this does it. This internet does this on purpose. Like I have the thing in front of me and then it goes away.
Yep, it waits. I hate that. I found an article today during lunch, and I think it was called 3 Bengals who will definitely be on different teams next year. And I was like, that's going to be great for them to bring up during the podcast. So I sit down at my computer and I can't find the goddamn article now.
Here we go. Okay. So Allen Robinson, as you know, is now a Ram.
Yes.
Allen Robinson says versatility of he and Cooper Kupp gives the Rams a tremendous advantage. Is Allen Robinson going to have any major impact on the Rams offense different from what they had last year with Odell?
No. And Bobby Trees. Don't forget.
And Bobby Trees. That's right.
He's stepping into the Bobby Trees role.
Right.
Which is essentially what he's going to do well. What Robert Woods, I feel, did. Cooper Kupp can run any freaking route you want. He reminds me, and he's got the timing with Stafford really well. It reminds me a lot of the kind of coordination that we saw out of Tom Brady and Julian Edelman. Listen, Cooper Kupp is not an exceptional wide receiver on his own. Neither was Julian Edelman. But when you get 2 guys that click together, big things can happen. And I think that's what's happening here. So is he going to take... No, Kupp is still going to get the majority of the looks. He's still going to get the same number of targets, if not more. Robinson is sliding into this secondary role. What he is basically saying to defenses is go ahead and double team Cooper Kupp. Kupp likes to run stop routes. He likes to run out routes. He likes to cut across the middle and then step back towards the quarterback to create separation. You go ahead and put a second body on him so he can't make that move that you think he's going to make, because I will be one-on-one with your safety and I'm going for 40 yards. That is essentially what Allen Robinson's presence here says. I don't think he's going to be a super deep threat. I do believe he is going to contribute a great deal, but I don't see his presence shaking up what's going on. It's an upgrade fantasy-wide because Allen Robinson goes from a team that didn't know what an offense was to a team that has offense very, very well in hand. So I think he's going to be fine, but I don't think he takes away from anybody who was already there.
No, I agree, because honestly, I need to see Allen Robinson not on a team named the Bears, because let's face it, and even Sean will admit to this, even though he'll never listen to this podcast, that if you watch plays of the Bears with Allen Robinson, he stops routes. When he knows he's not getting the ball, he just stops. So he's not selling anything. Or if he knows that there's a ball if you watch him get a pass, and he knows he's not going to get it or come close to it, he kind of just stopped. So
and I think this is going to be different for that.
Right.
Because
so that's what I want to see.
Right. I completely agree with that. I think what the problem is that Chicago really never had a number 2. The exact situation I'm talking about, where, okay, go ahead and double cover Cooper Kupp or put your best guy in Cooper Kupp, that was Allen Robinson's problem. The difference was Allen Robinson didn't have a decent number 2 across the field from him. And because he didn't have that decent number 2, they could double team him. They could jam him. They could do those. And I agree. It sometimes forced him to just sit there and go, I know this play ain't coming to me. There's no way. I'm the third option here. They're going to double team me. So I'm just going to, he can't think that way now, because he's the guy who might end up option depending on how the defense shifts. So I think he's going to be looking for more catches on fewer targets.
Yeah,
that's the way I'm going to put it.
That makes sense.
His catch rate should be significantly higher. I think it was under 60% last year. I'm saying 75, 80%. So he may only see 5 or 6 targets a game, but he's going to catch 3 or 4 of them, in my opinion. So we'll have to see how it pans out. But I'm not worried. I'm actually looking at Allen Robinson as a reliable number 2 option in fantasy this year. I will put him ahead of some number 1s on certain teams.
All right.
So
that's fair.
All right. So my question.
Yeah.
We all heard about the Baker Mayfield trade today.
Yes.
The Panthers only have to pay $4.85 million of his salary. The Browns pay another $10.5 million. So let me say that again. The Browns are paying 2/3 of his salary, and the Panthers are paying 1/3 of it. And the rest of the $18.8 million salary, which is roughly about $4 million, maybe a little less. I'm just not doing math in my head very quickly. A little less than $4 million is going to be changed into incentives. So in theory, they could be on the hook for about $8 million, but to be on the hook for $8 million, Baker has to meet his incentives. But that's not where I'm going with my hot take question.
Okay.
This has now raised the question, what about Raven? As we've been asking for about 30 years. What about Raven? There's always, when a trade like this happens, somebody's always the guy left out in the cold. And the guy in the cold most likely is Sam Darnold.
Yep.
So the rumor is now coming out that Sam Darnold might be gaining trade interest himself. And if Baker clears his physical, because all of that is still pending a physical.
Right.
If he does clear the physical, Sam Darnold will then be traded a short time later. And his destination, Craig, is rumored to be Detroit.
What?
That the Lions backups to Goff right now? Hold on, I had it in the screen. Where is it? Their backups are Tim Boyle and David Blau.
Bless you.
I don't even know if I'm saying that right. That's how little I know. I didn't even know Tim Boyle was still in the
Where's
league.
Blake Bortles?
Blake Bortles ascended to heaven in a glorious assumption. And he's sitting in heaven. He's having dinner with Moses and Jesus right now. That's what happened to Blake Bortles. He was assumed into heaven. He is holy art thou, holy art thou, holy art thou. Bless you, Blake Bortles. In the name of Blake Bortles. Amen. Yes. And hi, Deb, because she hates when I do the voice. The Lions don't think he's going to start, but this is an indicator that the Lions are looking and say, Jared Goff could actually be pretty good in his second year here if he can just stay on his feet. But what if he doesn't? What do we have? Oh, Tim Boyle is drooling into a bucket, and David Blau put his helmet on backwards. So I think this is. What is your take? Can Darnold end up on the Lions?
That makes sense. I was actually, before you said that, I was guessing you were gonna say Seattle.
Ooh, that's another good lane.
Because,
Well,
all right, listen.
they're all in
Listen.
on Drew Lock.
Listen, there's Drew Lock. Don't get me started on the whole the U.S. Open backlash on Twitter, but the so they have Drew Lock and they have Geno Smith,
Oh,
and I've watched the Jets a lot when Geno Smith when they drafted Geno Smith, voice trails off. So that's what I really thought you were going to say. The Seahawks were involved, but I can see
think
Detroit. I can see Detroit going for that because, as I said on this podcast a lot, Cinch pretty much ruined Jared Goff's career. So,
by the way, just so you know, the Seahawks actually are listing Geno Smith as their starter as of today.
Are they officially?
According to ESPN, the depth chart, Geno Smith is 1 and Drew Lock is 2, and number 3 is Jacob Eason, your buddy.
Dear God. Oh man.
But yeah, you know what? I think if you're sitting there and you're looking at who's my better 1-2, Smith and Locke, or Goff and Boyle, I definitely think I would go with Smith and Locke. If I have to pick one pair, I think I do. So I mean, Detroit seems like a better landing place,
right? No, it does.
You know. And before anybody, and I've been a Sam Darnold defender, admittedly so. Before anybody calls Darnold a bust, just remember he came out in the same draft as Josh Rosen. So
he did, and he was drafted by the Jets, who were being run by defensive coordinators and a defensive coach. So
yes, and don't do anything. Right. Actually, one of my brother-in-laws is a Jets fan, and we were at his house on the 4th. He was kind enough to call us last minute and be like, "Hey, we're just going to do a quick chicken and burgers thing. You want to come over?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure. We're not doing anything. We'll stop over." Which, by the way, off the air, remind me to tell you the story about we actually went to Stu Leonard's in Norwalk on the 4th of July.
Oh, you poor dumb bastard.
That was a mistake above all mistakes. You would have thought the apocalypse was upon us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there on Thanksgiving morning. That's
oh my God.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Go on.
Anyway, but yeah, so and he's like, hey, listen, he's only like 12 or 14 weeks. He talked about it. He's like, there's only 12 Sundays till the NFL, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what number he said, but it was like maybe even 10. And I'm like, yeah, man. He goes, are we going to watch a game this year? I'm like, yeah, we get together. You're always welcome to join us, or I'll take a week off and I'll come hang out with you. He goes, that'd be great. We could watch a Jet game. And my father-in-law looked up and went, why? And I'm like, you have your 2 son-in-laws here, and one of them just admitted to being a Jet fan, and your response is, why? I felt bad for him.
Well, he's a Bills fan, isn't he?
My father-in-law, yes. And his doctor recently told him that he's got concerns about the skin on his head. He has to walk around in a hat. He's been walking around in a Bills hat for like the last 2 weeks. So proud. He loves his Bill hat. And my wife was like, I think we just found a hat that's come to him. I'm like, I think we found a hat for the team that's actually winning. Let's see if the Bills go 0-3 to start the season if he's still wearing the hat.
He's going to switch to like a Mario hat or something.
That's the thing. It's a baseball cap, but it's Bills blue and it's got the logo on. It's a really nice hat. But he's more of a bucket hat kind of guy. He just kind of likes that comfortable bucket hat look.
That's fair.
So I was like, I'm shocked he's wearing this, but we'll see. If the bucket hat shows up in week 4 because Josh Allen's off to a rough start, we'll know something's up. So. All right, what else you got for me tonight?
So this is half football related. I want to know your prediction for this.
Hey.
I want to know. I want to know how long this goes, how many rounds it goes, and the winner. Mm-hmm. So we have Adrian Peterson fighting Le'Veon Bell in a boxing exhibition match on July 30th.
What was it? 12 rounds? 10 rounds?
Let me double check here.
Because I don't want to sit here and say 7 rounds if it's scheduled for 5 because it's an exhibition.
Retired, blah, blah, blah. I thought the rounds were on here. Boxing event, blah, blah, blah.
Le'Veon Bell versus Adrian Peterson?
Yep. This doesn't actually say how many rounds. So it's exhibition.
I'm not going to predict a knockout. I'm going to predict a decision, which means it's going to go max. And I think Peterson beats him.
That's fair.
Your thoughts?
I was going to go on with actually. Oh, so here does the age affect it at all? So Peterson's 37 and Bell's 30. And neither one of them have actually retired from football or ever boxed before. So does that change your mind at all?
No.
All right. I was going to say Peterson. I don't know. I just feel like Peterson would take it more seriously, even though it's an exhibition match.
And I don't want to say anything bad about Le'Veon Bell because I always get shit. I got shit on last Wednesday, by the way. Finch was talking about my obvious Steeler bias, and he's not wrong. I do hate the Steelers, but like he made it sound like it's like this glowing thing. Like I open every segment with "Welcome back to the football Fignuts, F the Steelers," and now we're gonna move on to. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's that bad, but anyway. So I don't want to say that, but I think Adrian Peterson is the more dedicated and thoughtful athlete. I think he's, training is not something you take lightly in any sport, but particularly in boxing. And I think that Adrian Peterson is probably going to be better equipped, in my opinion.
Fair answer.
From a training perspective. Now, if that makes me another Steelers hater, that's fine. I mean, I couldn't disagree with Cinch when he said that. I was just kind of like, dude, come on. What do you want from me here? So, all right. Anyway, what's your prediction? You didn't give me yours.
I'm going to say Peterson wins by decision.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. So, by the way, about 3 hours ago, there's talk. ABC News put out a story that Deshaun Watson could be facing as much as a year-long NFL suspension, and it is now said that Watson has settled 20 of the 24 lawsuits against him. So,
it's right. Yeah, he. I don't want to say paid them off is the wrong phrase, but settled.
He's settled.
With
He's settled
20
for
of them.
Undisclosed cash amounts. In other words, he paid them off. So, all right. So really quickly, because we do want to keep this episode shorter, we have a lot of work to do going into next week's season opener. But I did just want to, just for fun, I just wanted to do a quick retrospective on where our consensus rankings put us last year. So all I did was I went. Okay, now keep in mind. So there's one of the things that bothers me about this is that I use CBS Sports because that's where our home league is based.
Right.
And I set it to standard scoring categories.
Okay. So no PPR.
No, it's PPR, but standard categories for what they consider standard, which includes a full point PPR.
Gotcha.
Okay. I mean, it's not standard like standard scoring, but not like what I'm saying is I did not use our particular league scoring system.
Right. Our league is very customized. So, okay.
Correct. Some of the names that came up as top 10, I sat there and I went, I don't know about that. Cordell Patterson was the 6th highest running back. Really? Well, Britt, he caught 52 balls and that different. Yeah, okay. He had 610 yards rushing, though. Well, but he had 12 combined touchdowns. Okay. I don't know about that. Anyway, so if you're sitting at home and you sit there and you say to yourself, that guy wasn't number 9 in my league, it's probably because either your league is specialized or CBS screwed up. Either way, this is what I use for the basis of a comparison, so here we go. All I did was take the top 10. I looked at the folks who finished in the top 10, and I looked at our rankings, and I compared the number of the correct number of people we got in the top 10.
Okay.
Let's start with quarterbacks.
All right.
This is where we did very well. We nailed 6 of the top 10.
Nice.
As a consensus team. I shouldn't have told you that. I should have let you guess, but I just told you.
All right.
Mahomes, Allen, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, and Matt Stafford were all in our consensus top 10.
Okay.
And all of them were in the top 10. Where did we miss? We had Kyler Murray at 3. He dropped off. He was hurt. I think that was understandable. We had Lamar Jackson at 4.
Yeah.
We had Russell Wilson at 6. Now,
he did get hurt.
He did get hurt. To be fair, you were the Russell Wilson truther. You had him at 8 yourself. I had him at 5. And then the other miss we had was Ryan Tannehill, which Sean warned us about. Sean had Tannehill at 13. And I had him at 9, you had him at 10, and he missed. So other particular hits and misses I thought were interesting. I had Justin Herbert at 11. and he was like number 4. So that was a total miss by me. Cinch had Joe Burrow, who did finish in the top 10 at 13. And then you had 2 notable misses, one of which I know you're already got in your head is Dak Prescott. Because you put Dak Prescott at number 13 and he was number 6.
And I'll do it again. I'll do it again, damn it.
I know you will. And you had Stafford at 15. I was the king of the Stafford train. I had him at 8.
You were.
And he finished 10th, so I'll take that one. Other big misses. Sean had Ryan Tannehill at number 13. He finished 12. That's actually not a miss.
That's not too
by
bad.
him.
Not too bad.
But that was like the one big one. So here's my question for you. Who of those 4 names, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Russ Wilson, or Ryan Tannehill, all of them finished outside the top 10. Who bounces back this year? Murray, Jackson, Wilson, or Tannehill? Which one most likely to bounce back?
I think it's going to be Wilson.
Really? In Denver?
I think in Denver, new coach, new team. Now, see, you have to be careful. You have to kind of look at the teams and see what's changed. But I think Russell Wilson is going to try to emulate what Peyton Manning did when he went to Denver. Not that he's going to throw like Peyton Manning, but I think
he's going to have that level of success right out the gate, though?
I think so, because I think what happened with him last year, he rushed his hand injury by a couple weeks, and that did not help. And as everyone knows, the Seahawks were overall, not just Russell Wilson, the Seahawks were just a mess last year. So
yeah. So I totally hear. I agree. I agree with that. So at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Believe it or not, Kyler Murray was number 11. So we missed on that one by just a little bit. Number 10 was Kirk Cousins. Number 9 was Jalen Hurts.
I mean, somebody has to do something with the ball in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I guess. He had 3,000 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, 9 picks. But he also had 10 rushing touchdowns. That's really where he gets the points.
That's true. Fantasy points, mind you.
Yes.
The Eagles, I didn't watch a lot of Eagles games, but the ones I did, they just, as a team, they just looked lost. Like that playoff game they had, terrible. That was terrible. So we'll see what happens this year.
All right, so running backs, we didn't do quite so good. How many of the top 10 do you think we got?
I'm going to go with 4.
We got 3.
Damn it.
We had Kamara, who finished 10th. We had him at 4. We had Jonathan Taylor at 5. And then we had Zeke at 7. And Zeke finished 7th.
Oh,
so if this was the Price is Right, we would have won the $100 bill. Guys, we missed on Christian McCaffrey. This dude cannot stay upright. Why? Why, Christian McCaffrey? Why? Why can't you stay upright?
Not anymore.
I don't get it.
Not anymore.
Let's see. Did we? Dalvin Cook. We had Dalvin Cook at number 2. He finished outside the top 10, but he also missed 1, 2, 3 games last season. So that's kind of a big deal. He missed the Seattle game, missed the Detroit game, and he missed both Detroit games. Wow, that's just come on. That's a stat bonanza. It's Detroit. How do you not play twice against Detroit? I mean, seriously. Oh, never mind. Anyway, okay, so we missed on that. Derrick Henry obviously got hurt. So our top 3 guys all got hurt. Then we had Saquon Barkley.
Voice trails off.
Yeah, it just didn't bounce back the way we thought. Sean had Saquon at 5.
Oh, that's silly, Sean.
Well, he lives with a Giants fan. I think that was
that's
part of the issue.
True.
We had Aaron Jones at 8. Aaron Jones finished outside the top 10. Number 9 was actually no, we had number 9. I missed one. Austin Eckler is on our list. All right, so we had 4.
Okay. All right.
We had 4 because I forgot we shifted the rankings. If you remember correctly, Cam Akers got hurt literally the week we put the rankings together, and so that was an issue. Now, Eckler, I had him at 16. I had him behind such luminaries as J.K. Dobbins, and DeAndre Swift.
Remember DeAndre Swift?
Yeah. And then the last one was Nick Chubb. We had Nick Chubb at 10. And obviously that didn't happen. So, guys we missed on. Najee Harris was number 3. Joe Mixon was number 4, according to CBS. And the only one of us who had him inside the top 10 was Craig, who was on the Joe Mixon train.
That's right.
He's driving the train right now. So that was there. James Conner comes in at 5
Really?
or 6. I'm telling you, it's weird. These numbers are weird. I mean, you know what it is? He had 15 rushing touchdowns.
That's true. You can rush for 1,100 yards and then like 20 touchdowns, and that affects your.
He didn't even have 11. He had 752 yards rushing and 15 touchdowns, but then he had 37 receptions with another 3 touchdowns on top of it. I don't know. I tell you, these CBS numbers don't look right to me. Then Josh Jacobs was in the top 10. So was Cordero Patterson. Patterson actually was tied with Alvin Kamara. So my question for you is, which of these 3 guys that we whiffed on mainly because of injury, McCaffrey, Cook, and Henry, which one are you putting highest on your list this year?
Again, barring injury, because I never like running backs coming back from major injuries. I'm gonna have to go with Henry out of those 3.
Yeah, me too. I think that's it. Now I'm looking at these numbers. It is definitely because they must give 7 points for a touchdown or something like that, because Nick Chubb had 1,200 yards rushing and he did not make the top 10, but he only had 8 rushing touchdowns. He had a total of 9 touchdowns the entire season, while Cordell Patterson had a total of 11. I think they must just give full points for like the receiving touchdowns.
Probably, or they don't, or maybe they don't get bonuses if they get over.
That might be it. They may not have a bonus factor. So take that for what it's worth. Yeah, I think I'm going Derrick Henry. I think I like Henry and Cook this year. I mean, Cook only missed 3 games, but he's still playing for the Vikings. The Vikings are still brutally bad. He still rushed for 1,150 yards and had 6 touchdowns, but I expect more out of Dalvin Cook this year. I really do.
Yeah, just make sure you draft his backup if you draft him. That's all.
Yeah, seriously. He's the guy you got to handcuff. All right, wide receivers. How many of the top 10 did we get?
8.
4.
Damn it.
But we got all the top 3 that we had were Hill, Adams, and Diggs, and they all came in. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, look, Hill, Adams, Diggs. Ooh, we're good. Off to a good start. Yeah, no, it fell off after that.
Sad.
Wait, I missed. What did I do wrong here?
You hit the wrong Excel button for sort.
I might have, because I just caught another one that I missed. So we got actually at 5. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I did this really quickly during my lunch break. So we had DeAndre Hopkins at 4. Obviously, he didn't play the full season. Calvin Ridley, we had Ridley at 5. I had Ridley at 4. Everybody else had him at 5. Ridley did not turn out to be what we thought he was going to be in Atlanta. Yeah. Wait a minute, didn't he get suspended?
Yes, he did. Well, he got hurt and then suspended.
Okay, so there's part of that.
He gambled while he wasn't playing.
So not only was he not what we expected him to be when he was playing, but he also didn't play the full season. We had Justin Jefferson at 6, and he made it. DK Metcalf was a disappointment at 7. Craig was right on DK Metcalf. He had Metcalf outside the top 10. A.J. Brown, we had at 8. That was Cinch had him as high as 6th. Craig had him outside the top 15. And then we had Keenan Allen at 9. I had him as low as 13, which is obviously a mistake. And then the biggest mistake I made was I put Allen Robinson at 8, which ended up boosting him to 10th overall. And so we missed there. So my question is gonna. All right, so who wasn't on the list that finished in the top 10? Cooper Kupp obviously was the best in the league. Deebo Samuel had such an amazing year, 1,400 yards on 77 receptions. That's kind of crazy. And a total of 14 touchdowns. Because don't forget, he had 8 rushing touchdowns. So he had a really amazing year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to replicate that year. I kind of hope he does, because he's probably going to be my keeper, but I don't think he's going to replicate that year. Jamar Chase came in at 5, and that was one we didn't see coming. I mean, even Craig didn't have him that high. Craig had him at highest on our list at 20th.
I did. So I was tempering my expectations, but
Yeah, Deontay Johnson did not make our top 20, and he was in the top 10. Keenan Allen, we already talked about. And then the surprise of the year for me is the number 10 wideout, according to CBS in 2021, was Hunter Renfrow. And that's because Amari Cooper got traded. I mean, none of us saw that coming, right? So why is my phone going off?
It's not me.
Okay, it's not you. So none of us saw that coming, and that was kind of a big deal there. So my question for you is, of our top three last year, who all made the top 10, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, and Stephon Diggs, two of them have changed teams. Hill and Adams are no longer on their respective teams, right? Devontae Adams is in Vegas. I don't know why that took me a minute to click my head.
Vegas and Miami.
So Hill, Adams, or Diggs? I think this is an easy question. Which one's the top of it? Which one of those three stays in the top 10 if only one of them does?
If only one of them does?
Who has the best year of those three? Who's highest on your list in 2022? Let's put it that way.
Out of those three,
Yes.
Diggs, and I'd probably put Adams second.
I would just reverse that. I would say Adams over Diggs, but yeah, I completely agree. It's just interesting to look back at this. Tight ends, we didn't do so very bad, you know? How many of the top 10 do you think we got right?
I'm going to say 6.
6 is absolutely correct. We got 6 of the top 10. We had Travis Kelce at 1. He finished 2. Okay. We had Darren Waller at 2, and he did not make the top 10. We had George Kittle at 3, and he finished 4th, so he was in there. We had Mark Andrews at 4, and he finished in 1st. So of the top 4 guys, we got 3 of them right.
Mm-hmm.
The one we missed on was we had Darren Waller, and apparently we should have had Dalton Schultz.
Who would have guessed?
I'm telling you, 78 catches for 808 yards and 8 touchdowns. No one would think. I mean, that outpaces that reception rate. He was out-targeted than Kittle. He out-received Kittle. He out-received Kyle Pitts on a similar number of targets. He out-caught Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz had 8 more targets and 4 fewer catches.
Really?
So, yeah. So, I mean, Schultz had a surprisingly better year than I think most of us thought he would. We had TJ Hawkinson at 5. Hawkinson actually finished 13th. We had Kyle Pitts at 6. Believe it or not, as yawn as Kyle Pitts was, he did finish in the top 10. He finished 6th, I believe. Noah Fant. Oh my God, he can't possibly be top 10. Yeah, he was number 10. He was number 10.
Fant.
Yeah, you know who was big on Noah Fant? This guy right here. You know who wasn't? Cinch. Cinch put Noah Fant at 11.
Oh.
We had Dallas Goedert at 8, and Dallas Goedert finished 9th. We had Logan Thomas. We had Logan Thomas at 9th, and I can't even find him on the list, so he's outside of that top 10 there.
Sad.
And then we had Tyler Higbee at 10th, and he finished 14th. So I already mentioned Dalton Schultz was on the list. Zach Ertz finished in the top 10. We did not have Ertz in the top 10 because we thought he was going to be in Philly behind Goddard at the time. Mike Gesicki finally had the year that Cinch has been telling us Mike Gesicki was eventually going to have. So Mike Gesicki, he had Mike Gesicki at 10, and he was right about that. Gronk, we all were down on Gronk. Gronk did not make our top 15. Across the board, he finished 8th. So that was a miss on our part. So Craig, same question that we had with wide receivers. Kelce, Kittle, and Andrews were all in the top 4. We all put them in the top 4 last year. So win for us there. Consensus win.
Right.
Which one of those guys so those 3 guys, Kelce, Kittle, and Andrews, are they all top 4 again this year on your list? Is there anybody you think that's going to fall off?
My only concern is the Chiefs' offense has changed so much. I don't know. I feel like teams are going to try to take advantage of that, and I just think Kelce is going to get double teamed more. Not that he's not going to catch a lot, but I just think it's going to affect his fantasy numbers.
The defenses can play him differently now. There's no question.
They don't have to worry about like Tyreek Hill streaking down the field because they don't, he's not there.
Right. You don't have to worry. This is going to sound stupid, but you don't have to worry about Demarcus Robinson running that short route and then probably dropping it, but sometimes actually catching the ball. You don't have to worry about Byron Pringle. I miss Byron Pringle so much. I might have to go buy a Byron Pringle jersey. Yeah. There's the weapons at wide receiver have changed. Now, but they got Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah, that's great. But you had 4 guys, all of which could be impactful on any given play, and none of those 4 guys were Travis Kelce. And then, oh, by the way, those 4 guys are paving the way for Kelce to catch those quick release routes. So I do think I see that point as well. I'm going to keep all 4 of them in my top 4. And I think so. obviously I'm not putting Darren Waller in the top 4 again because I don't know what the hell's going to happen in LA, and I think the arrival of Devontae Adams is going to shift targets a little bit. So my follow-up question to you is, who else do you put in that top 4? And I'll give you my answer right off the bat is going to be Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts is actually going to evolve a little bit this year. And yes, they got to change a quarterback. Yes, Atlanta's in a rebuild. I just think that Kyle Pitts is going to become a reliable outlet option for them. And so he's probably going to sneak into my top 4.
That's actually not too bad.
Who's your 4th? Let's assume Andrews, Kelsey, and Kittle are guaranteed in your top 4. Who else is in your top 4?
Let me check something really quick. Hold on. Let me see.
I'm actually while you're looking that up, I'm pretty impressed with us. We got 6 of the top 10 quarterbacks. Okay, we only got 4 of the top 10 running backs, but the top 3 we lost to injury. We had 5 of the top 5 wide receivers, and we got 6 of the top 10 tight ends. We were pretty consistent as a crew. I mean, we can laugh at each other and say things like Craig put Logan Thomas at 16, and turns out he was right about.
Right. Yeah, he's still there.
We can laugh about these things now, but overall, our team was pretty consistent in nailing some of the guys that you could rely on in the number 1 category.
You know what? I would probably say for someone to move up, especially with Gronk being retired for now. Who knows if he really is? I would probably move Dalton Schultz up.
Do you think Schultz is going to repeat?
I think so. I think Waller is going to drop a little bit, and I think Pitts and Schultz are going to go up.
Yeah, I can see it. I think Schultz is also the only one who played the entire season on that list.
That always helps.
Yeah. I'm looking to see. I mean, Andrews, I think, missed 1 game. Kelsey, I think, missed 1 game. Kittle always misses a game. So I think that factors into it, too. So, Craig, believe it or not, that is going to put a wrap on Season 5.
Wow.
It is time to progress to final thoughts. So the floor is yours. What is your final thought for Season 5?
Final thought. I just want to say thank you for joining us on another exciting season, and staying with us through the craziness of COVID. It went by honestly, it went by fast, even though COVID did distort my time view a lot. But it's always fun. This is a crazy yet very fun time of year for fantasy football. So it's good. It's good that it's back. And I still have to do my rankings, so I'm gonna have to do that later.
Yeah. So the Sean Main Memorial Slacker Award goes to Craig this year because he is the only one who has not submitted his rankings, despite the fact that I was very clear they were due by July 1st, so that I could have them ready. He has still not submitted his rankings. All the other contributors have. I have not begun putting together the numbers yet, but I'm going to have to do that for next week because next week is the Season 6 kickoff, and we will be doing our quarterback rankings next week. And not to toot our own horn, but you just heard 6 of the top 10 quarterbacks we predicted in 2021 were actually in the top 10. Oh, 60%, that sucks. You do better. Dare you. I dare you to sit down by yourself and do better.
Damn it.
It's hard. Predicting this stuff is hard.
It's hard.
You have to look at a bunch of different trends. There's all these different factors. There's a reason why the guys who are really good at this get paid for it, and there's a reason why we do it to try and support the general community. We don't get paid for this, guys. The reason we have day jobs.
We do.
We have day jobs.
And I had night jobs doing this.
Yeah, exactly. We consider ourselves to be professionals in that we are putting out what I think is really good analysis. Doesn't mean we're always right. I think what differentiates us from a lot of the paid experts, and you hear this all the time if you listen to like SiriusXM Fantasy Football, all the time, there's that guy who calls into the show and goes, well, I listened to you last year, and last year you told me that I should draft Darren Waller in the 5th round, and Darren Waller, blah, blah, blah. And then you hear the litany of excuses. Well, Waller was injured, and we thought this, and we thought that, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes those things are valid, but sometimes those things are just kind of like blowing smoke up your ass. So we try not to do that here. When we screw up on things, like you heard me just now, I talked about the top 3 running backs. We missed on the top 3 running backs, and they all missed time this year. Henry missed a significant chunk of time. So I mean, not to say, and McCaffrey, as always, I'm so done with Christian McCaffrey, Craig.
Sadly, I know I am too. Once he got hurt, it's never the same. Never the same.
I can't. And the 2 of the last 3 seasons, I've drawn the 1 pick in our home draft.
Have you?
Yes, and both times I've taken McCaffrey, and I'm not.
You shouldn't.
I'm not taking it.
That means Sean's going to listen to this, and he's going to draft him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, remember this time last year when Sean was telling us that singing the praises of Ronald Jones Jr.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, and Leonard Fournette ends up in the top 10 running backs. It's fun to look back on, but it is a lot of work, and we really do love bringing it to you. So we are excited for the start of season 6 next week. I honestly cannot wait. As tiresome as this adventure gets from year to year, and trust me, when I wake up in like the middle of June and I'm like, my brain sits there and goes, you got to start the new season in like 2 weeks, right? And I'm also like, oh my God, I've got to do rankings. I've got to like actually start paying attention to things. My off season is over. It's brutal, but it's a labor of love, and we do love bringing it to you. So we thank everyone who comes for this crazy ride with us. And if you are on this crazy ride with us, listen, we know not everybody can drive to our house and give us beer. We're not looking for that. But what you can do to support us is leave us a review on whatever podcast directory you find us on. We are on so many. I have given up listing them. And obviously, if you're hearing this, you found us somewhere. So wherever you found us, go back there and leave us a review. If you like it, if you hate it, go right on ahead. But leave us... The worst reviews we get are 1-star reviews that just are 1-star blank. If you don't like something, we'd like to hear what it is so that we can improve on it.
Just be constructive with your criticism.
Right. Like the guy who criticized us because we weren't big on David Johnson coming back because he was jumping out of swimming pool. And we poo-pooed him on Twitter, and this guy went off on us for about a week. That guy, we haven't heard from him. I hope you're doing well, sir. I'm sure you're listening because at this point you realized you were freaking wrong, and we were right not to trust David Johnson being a comeback kid. So,
yeah. You know what? And on that, I'm on a list of like top 100 players. Mm-hmm. David Johnson's not on this list. You know who's number 100? Ronald Jones.
Oh my God. Okay, so that means in a 12-team league that makes him like a 7th rounder?
Yeah.
Well, who else is in? I'm not going down this rabbit hole.
No.
I'll save the rabbit hole for because my first question is like, well, who else is there? I mean, if Leonard Fournette does get hurt, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. We will just say thank you everybody for all of your support. Please leave us a review. We are excited to be bringing our 6th season to you starting next week. Cannot wait. Please join us then. Until we speak to you next week for our annual quarterback preview. Until then, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast.